Hey everyone, today we're going to be looking at the category of Best Costume Design. Now, this is a category that a lot of people don't give enough credit to. I always used to joke that it's a very important category because without the work of great costume designers, every movie would just be a porno. Uh, Moving on, let's take a look at the five brilliant costume designers that kept their movies from being. Okay, this isn't going anywhere. Let's just look at the nominees. Fifth most likely to win is Darkest Hour. Now, I do understand why this film is nominated, but it feels like kind of a weak nominee, especially when you compare it to films like Murder on the Orient Express or The Greatest Showman. It's definitely good costume design, but it's very subtle production design. I made the same argument yesterday when I talked about this film in production design. It's well done and it fits the time period, but I feel that they just wanted to give Darkest Hour extra nominations. They're like, what else can we nominate here? We don't want to nominate movies that we don't like. Let's nominate a Best Picture nominee that's a period piece. I get the nomination, I do, but I just can't imagine this winning. For one thing, it's a very male-centric film, and Best Costume Design is a category that heavily favors female-centric films for the obvious reason that women's clothing tend to be more elaborate, especially in period pieces. And we do see a few nice outfits worn by Lily James's character or Kristen Scott Thomas's character, but a lot of it is just men in suits. And it's period appropriate suits, but it's still suits. So I can't imagine that Darkest Hour has any chance to win the Oscar. Fourth most likely to win is The Shape of Water. Now, this is interesting because this movie, it will definitely pull in votes because of the sweep factor. People love this movie so much, and it's going to pull in votes because, oh, Shape of Water, I'll just vote for that and everything. The problem is, it's not a film with very elaborate costumes. Like, again, it's period appropriate, but it's not costuming that makes you go, whoa, look at that. Unless maybe if you wanted to argue the assets, the fish man in the movie, you could argue that that's kind of a costume, but it's also kind of makeup with a little bit of visual effects tapped on, so maybe they're voting for the asset costume in particular, but I can't see too many Academy voters thinking like that. And even if they are, like, I just don't think it's going to be enough to win. Third most likely to win is Victoria and Abdul. Now, this feels like kind of a weird choice, but last year was a really, really big shocker when Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them won this category. That came out of nowhere. Nobody saw that coming. So, in this category, movies don't always have to be Best Picture nominees. Sometimes they just reward movies that have fancy costumes. And this fits the bill. In the past, we've had movies like Elizabeth the Golden Age or The Young Victoria win this costume, or The Duchess, movies that were not terribly well received. And Victoria and Abdul, the Academy seemed to like it enough because they gave it nominations for costume design and makeup, but I just can't imagine it's going to get enough votes to actually win the Oscar. This award is a very tight race. It's a debatable race between two films. It's a two-horse race. Second most likely to win is Beauty and the Beast. Now, ever since I first saw the trailer for this movie, I was like, oh, this is going to win the Oscar for costume design. It's a very costume-heavy film. It recreates a lot of famous costumes from the 1991 animated movie, including Belle's yellow ball gown, which is famous, but also the blue dress she wears at the beginning. There's Gaston's hunting outfit, the Beast's coat, and a lot of it works, and it feels realistic, but it also feels hyper-realistic, like to add to the fantasy element. It works for what it's supposed to do. That said, I cannot imagine. It's very, very close. It's very, very close. It's fancy. I think people will vote for it, especially Disney fans. This movie did come out quite a while ago, though, so that might be a bit of an issue. Some people might not remember it. I don't know. And some people may always say, oh, they copied the original animated film, so it's a copy. But some people might go, oh, that's impressive that they managed to recreate what was initially a drawing. I just can't imagine this actually. I keep saying that just out of habit. I'm sorry, because I can't imagine this winning. I think this could win. But my prediction, the number one most likely to win, is Phantom Thread. And it's for one simple reason. This is a movie about a man whose job it is to make dresses. Daniel Day-Lewis's character makes dresses. And over the course of the film, we see him make dresses. We see him sew and stitch, and we see all the little intricacies that go into making these dresses. Now, not only is it a period piece and a Best Picture nominee on top of that, but any Academy voters who watch this film, for those of you that don't know, the Academy is broken into different guilds. There's an Actors Guild, a Writers Guild, and there is a Costume Designers Guild. And anybody in the Costume Designers Guild, they're going to be looking at this movie and thinking, wow, like this is amazing to see the craft that I do for a living represented so faithfully in this film. And look at everything that you do to the lace. It calls attention to the costume design way more than the vast majority of movies. And the fact that it calls attention to this costume design and it forces you to look at the costume design is what's gonna pull it over the edge. That's what's gonna make it win. Beauty and the Beast is definitely gonna get some votes, but Phantom Thread just has, it almost feels undeniable because it's so laser focused on the art of costume. Plus, the fact that the film was nominated for Best Picture means they liked it quite a lot and almost everybody saw it. So when people think of costume design, they think, oh yeah, the dressmaking, all the stuff that Daniel Day-Lewis's character did in that film. And evidently, after making the film, Daniel Day-Lewis decided to retire and become a dressmaker in real life. So I guess if it convinced him that the world of making dresses is good, maybe convinced everyone else who votes for the Academy. It just feels like a very obvious choice, and sometimes the most obvious solution to a problem is usually the correct one. Or however that saying goes. So yeah, Phantom Thread will win. Thank you for joining me. Tune in tomorrow where I'll be taking a look at the category of Best Documentary Short.